Yeah.
All right, let's roll right into our post-race for today's 45th Annual Camping World RV Sales 500 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race number 6, and the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. And our race runner-up is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He drove the number 88 Mountain Dew Xbox One Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Dale, certainly you were up front just about all day long, led some laps. And just talk about your run out there today here at Talladega.
Yeah, I was wondering if we might have led the most, but if we didn't, we were up there close. We had such a good car. I was, we since I've been working with Steve, we just haven't really had a good combination here, and maybe I've torn up some really good cars and never just got to see how good they were in the races in the past. But I knew in practice the car was strong, and just wondered if everybody was showing everything they had. Once you get the whole field out there, it's a little bit different. But our car was a rocket, and we were able to really be aggressive. And I just tried to lead every lap of the race, and felt like that. What I've seen be successful with this package and this car this year. That seems to, if you're up front all the time, you tend to be there at the end when it counts, and we were. So we got shuffled out there on that last run when we come out of the pits. I thought we pitted a little bit early. Gave up a little bit of time. My crew chief, Steve, didn't really agree with that, but I just felt like if we could stay out on the racetrack, we had a better shot at coming out in front of them guys. We ended up coming out behind a bunch of people and worked our way up toward the front there on the outside, and I don't, it's all kind of a blur as to how we ended up in second, but I had no reason to make a move before the last lap being in second place. I was in perfect position to be patient and wait as long as I wanted to. So that's why we didn't go any sooner than that. I just can't anticipate a caution coming out every single time we run a Talladega race on the last lap. So I just assumed it would go to checkered, and was planning my move on the back straightaway. We sort of let the one car get out there a little bit going down the front straightaway into turn 1, and then we mashed the gas in the middle of the corner and got a run with the 14, and I was moving around just a little bit to see where the one thought I might be going to try, because I got to sort of fake him out and looked and I noticed the run stopped, and I looked in the mirror and guys were out of control, so we didn't get an opportunity to see what would have materialized. It wasn't the best run in the world. It wasn't what I dreamed it would be all those last few laps, but it was a good enough run, I think, to get up to his quarter panel and get beside him, and then we'd have found out who our friends were there at that point. But real happy with the way the car ran, and it was good to run up front, good lead. We've really struggled doing that, just even being competitive and being able to drive up through there and do that like we did today, and it felt great.
Thank you, Dale. We'll take questions now. Let's start with Mike Embry and then Don Coble. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Embry, NASCAR Wire Service. Dale, so many different things can happen here, but we have had situations recently where a lot of the races have ended with a situation where you at least have to think about, well, maybe there might be a caution that's going to end like that.
Can you remember the last race here that didn't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How much did it go into your thinking, maybe I might need to be out front just in case we get
I wished I was out front. I really did. But I knew that I had everything to lose and really one spot to gain by going early. And if I waited to the last lap, I could possibly defend off a failed run and get a relatively decent finish. I guess pulling out early and that not working and finishing 25th was worse than trying to take the chance. Not waiting and being patient, I thought would pay off, and I knew. Every race we have here, we all wreck on the last lap, and it's fortunate that wreck wasn't any worse than what we typically see here. But for some reason, it was a lot calmer those last few laps. Everybody was pretty good about staying in line. I would have been a little more antsy if I'd have been back there in 5th or 10th. But they weren't jumping out. And had they jumped out and moved, with 5 to go, 9 to go, whatever, that would have changed everyone's strategy, and we might have went sooner, been forced to go sooner than we did. But nobody moved, so I was like, hey, I'm just going to wait till the end. I don't have to try till the very end. I got one guy to pass, and all I got to do is make one run happen, and maybe it'll work.
Why do you think there wasn't more antsy?
I don't know. I don't really know.
There was earlier.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't wreck at lap 20.
We raced like hell all day long.
Yeah, till the end.
It was fun.
10-4. Let's hear from our third place finisher, and that's Paul Menard. He drives the number 27 Menard's Duracell Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Paul, congratulations on a good run here today. Maybe just talk about what you saw from your vantage point.
Well, first off, we started deep in the field, I think 34th or 35th, and knew that we had a really good car. We just didn't do much drafting on Friday, so knew we had a good car, knew it was pretty stable, but wasn't totally sure on how it was going to handle in a big pack. So at the start of the race, we took off and tried to learn more than anything. And car drove really good, was fast, drove to the front, kind of hung out in top 10 all day long, and could never get to to the first couple rows to lead a lap. But had a good Duracell Menard Chevy all day long. We can make the middle groove work to gain spots, and then get to the outside, and ultimately the outside lane kind of won out. Over the long run, that's kind of where everybody shuffled out to, and just kind of right around the last 10, 15 laps waiting for somebody to make a move. I didn't want to be the first guy to do it and get shuffled back to 30th, so that's kind of wait for Dale to make something happen.
Okay, let's open it up for questions now for both Dale and Paul. I think Don Coble had one over here. I'm not sure Ed Hinton might have had one too, but let's go Don Coble, Ed Hinton, and then we'll go press box.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Dale, you said on TV just a minute ago that you were talking about your plan was you were figuring the 14 was gonna go with you, and you said whoever else wanted to come along. It appears the 17 was what kind of glitched the situation back there. Did you see him back there? Did you know he was going to be
A wild card.
Part of the mix? And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I knew everybody was going to be a part of the finish somehow. I'm pretty sure Jamie wasn't just going to let me go by. He was going to side draft, and then we were going to play hell trying to get the lead from that point. But I thought Austin would, I don't know what Austin would have done for sure, but I assumed, knowing him as I do, he was probably going to help me once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after that, you're on your own. So, but other than that, I mean, Ricky, I didn't know what his plan was or anybody else's. We really hadn't talked to the 14. We were just kind of waiting to the last lap and going to make a run. And that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Let's also hear from our top Sunoco finishing Rookie of the Year candidate. The good fifth place finish here today is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He drives the number 17 Nationwide Insurance Ford for Roush Fenway. And Ricky, congratulations on a solid run. You ran up front. Certainly were in position there. Had the caution flag not come out, perhaps to really make something happen there on that last lap. Talk about your run and maybe what you saw the last lap.
Yeah, it was, first off, I thought the racing was great all day. We were 2, 3, 4 wide for a long time, and, cars seemed to be able to make moves and, get some momentum going. So, for our Nationwide Insurance team, we were, solid all day, in the top 10 a lot of the day, and led a few laps, which is good for us. We've trying to get the ball rolling here, late in the season, and, that last lap there is, I was trying to hang back, time it right, where Paul and I could either kind of get a run on the 14 and go the inside and see if we can make something happen, or get him to pull out and go low, and us get back in line on the top and try to have a full head of steam for Dell and Jamie there. Coming down to 3 and 4, just didn't time it quite right, and us and the 14 met right there in the middle and caused a crash. So. Bummed that we caused that, but all in all, it was a good day for us.
Let's go back down for questions. Don Coble, do you have one? Let's get him the mic, and then we'll go to the press box.
This is for Ricky and Paul. As you rode in line there those last 10 laps, were you kind of surprised that everybody kept waiting and waiting, that you didn't go any earlier?
I was. I thought for sure as good as the middle was all day long, I thought for sure the 20, the 22, 48, some of those guys would get that rolling at the end, and it just never happened. my spotter kept, telling me where they were, and I think the closest guy was like 6 cars behind us, and I'm pretty surprised that it didn't make further headway.
Ricky?
Yeah, I thought, when they said the 22 was lining up on the bottom with about 5 to go, I knew they weren't going to have near enough time to get it going and organized to get that momentum. So at that point, I knew it was going to be just, up to us, top 5, 6 cars there running the top. And, it seems like throughout the race, there was a lot of guys that, were able to pull out and make a move and leave me hanging. So, I was going to be that guy to make the first move. And so we tried it. Just didn't play out.
Let's go to the press box. Questions in the press box. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. So, Ricky, what happened with Austin out there? I mean, what exactly did you see from your vantage point?
I'd been running half throttle there and timing my run off of 2. We couldn't seem to get a good run off of 4, so I thought 2, coming off of 2 is going to be my best place to get that done. So, we hung back there a little bit, and we had a good run coming, and when I pulled out a little bit there to go to the bottom, he pulled down the block, and I tried to get back to the top as quick as I could, thinking the momentum was going to carry us around the outside there, and we just met right there in the middle.
And June, who was you said you had the best car, you said after the race that this was the best car that you've had since you've been in Hendrick Motorsports. Was there anybody in particular that you worked better with drafting one driver or the other?
No, not really. We had a really good car. We've had some good cars at Daytona. For some reason, we come to Talladega, we just haven't been able to get them to run, or we tear them up and never find out how good they were. So, for whatever reason today, it just the car was fast. I didn't really have to worry about, who we were working with or around, and I really, didn't try to piss anybody off, but I just, I didn't worry about trying to help everybody and trying to be everybody's friend out there. You got to run, you take it. Everybody sort of understands what the situation is. When you get a good run, they don't come every lap. You got to take your opportunities.
Stay upstairs, please. Go ahead. Back downstairs. Holly, do you have a question? Let's get Holly Kane a microphone, please.
Junior, one of the things we saw, some people immediately went to the back and tried to use that strategy. You never did. You raced up front all day. If you could, and obviously that worked out well. If you could talk a little bit about that, and then I have a question for Ricky.
Yeah, when I've tried to ride in the back, and it's and you try to go, it's usually typically the race is 2 or 3 wide for the first 10 rows, and you can't go anywhere. You can't get in, you can't go anywhere. So we always end up packed up in behind that mess, and then we find our way into the last lap wreck. And so I decided that if the car was pretty good in practice, and I just I felt like that if I could get up there up front, that seems to be working for Matt. He's been doing really well this year on the plate tracks, and he's always toward the front and never has to worry about working his way through the pack if he's coming out toward the front on that last pit stop. And we were good enough today to be able to do that. In the past I've tried to do it and just make the wrong moves or whatever and find myself in the back anyways. But the car was really strong today.
And Ricky, this is for you. You've had some good runs here lately, some top 10s and stuff like that. If you could kind of talk about building off that. And you mentioned how finishing out the season and really seeing some results like that. Yeah,
everybody's working real hard. I think our cars are getting better, and everybody at the shops, all hands on. Just trying to make our season the best it can be here at the end. And we struggled throughout the first half of the season, definitely more than I thought we should, or definitely more than we wanted to. So we've learned a lot. I think we're getting better as a team, and I'm learning a little bit more about what we need to do from practice to the race, to make our cars still fast throughout the race. So it's been fun the last month or so, and we just need to keep it going. Today was a great race for us, and we had a good one here last time. So we were looking forward to coming back to Talladega, and hopefully we can carry that on.
Go ahead here to the left, right here.
Matt Weaver, PopularSpeed.com. This is more for Ricky and for Paul. I get the impression that Junior was going to wait until his moment to make the move. But for you two guys, is it kind of like a risk versus reward scenario where you don't want to be the guy to pull out and you're waiting for the guys behind to make their move before you jump out in front of them?
Well, I have no idea. I haven't been in that position very often, so I was just going off of what I saw throughout the race, and it seemed like if you could get to the left rear quarter of the guy in front of you and get a run, you could definitely make the bottom work, especially through the corner, and and then drag race down the straightaway. So that's what we were trying to do, or my plan was, and then when he pulled down the block, I was, kind of changed my game plan real quick and tried to go back to the top to get a run around the outside. But, I just, it was the first time I've really been in that position to do it.
And my plan was to wait for somebody else to go to the bottom first and keep a track of where, the 20 to 22 and those guys were, and I tried to pull in front of them when they got to me. I wasn't going to be the first guy to do that because I've done that before. I've been shuffled out pretty quick, so I was going to wait for somebody else to make the move first and try to piggyback on.
Any additional questions? Stan?
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. It's really for all three of you. How long do you let your breath out and that this weekend is over and that you've got great finishes before you turn your mind to Martinsville?
Our mind's been on Martinsville because I've only been there once and we were terrible. So we went and tested 3 days there a couple weeks ago, and the crew chiefs and guys have been working real hard on our race cars to get them better on the short track. So we've been thinking about that a long time. The crew chiefs kind of, I feel like they kind of take this weekend off and sit up on the pit box and tell us when to pit. So we've been working towards Martinsville for a while now.
We're testing in Texas Monday and Tuesday, so we'll be working on that and trying to prepare a good car for that race. And looking forward to Martinsville. We didn't get to run with it, wanted there last time, and felt like we always run real good there. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, we all leave tomorrow morning for Texas to test for a few days, so we'll be thinking about that. Then
it's a long test.
3 12-hour days, I think. And we did the same test that Ricky did at Martinsville to prepare for this coming weekend. And I think of Martinsville is a lot like a plate race. You prepare all you can, and then the last 20 laps, all hell breaks loose. You never know how you're going to end up.
Where we got a question at? Got two over here, Mark and George.
Mark Arrow, PRN for Dale Jr. Dale, I was just looking at some of your stats. 22nd runner-up in the Sprint Cup Series, 4 this year, 4 at Talladega. Do they feel like a near miss, or,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain too much because I'm driving some of the best cars in the garage and got some of the best engines at a place like that. It really means a lot. It's frustrating, because the worst part about it really is you go home and you'll spend months thinking about what you could have done to not be second. So that's the worst part about it. Actually, the process of it happening and doing it isn't that bad. You're kind of happy with being competitive, and it was a good result. But you'll go back and think of a million things you could have tried different.
George, you have a question?
He asked it.
He asked it.
Let me ask you one thing. You said you'll replay it and think about what you could have done differently. It seems there really wasn't anything you could have done differently because it all played out behind you, right?
Yeah, I guess if we have a last lap wreck every time, and I guess next time we are in that situation, we'll try to go a lap sooner. Right?
Any more questions here in the media center? Somebody back there in the back, Roger.
Roger Holtzclaw, Speedway Media. Dale, obviously, as they pointed out, 22 runner-up finishes. You run as hard as you can every lap and try as hard as you can. What do you say to those multitude of people out there that every time Jimmy Johnson passes you at a racetrack, they're screaming, "It's team orders, it's team orders"? We obviously know that's not true.
Yeah, we hear about it on Dirty Mo Radio every Monday on the Reaction Theater about how disappointed they are that we haven't won yet. So but we're getting close, man. I'm gonna tell you, looking at our run since Chicago, this is the best my cars have been all year. I've had some of the best cars the last 5 races that I've had all season, and they say they're not doing anything different, but they sure are running really good, and I think we're right around the corner from winning one of these races, and we're just gonna keep trying.
Any further questions? Upstairs, I think you have one upstairs. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer for Fox Sports. Hey, Paul, real quick, can you talk about the improvements that RCR has made and, you know, the closing months of the season, and what are your expectations for 2014 with the new lineup?
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. We did a lot of work in the off season getting ready for this Gen 6 car, as everybody did, and I feel like we started the year pretty strong as a company. The 2017 particularly, and then the 29 and 31 have come on really strong. The second half of the season we kind of fell off, and now we're picking back up. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about where we're at as a company. I know we're making big gains chassis aero wise, and the motors have gotten a lot better. So just small improvements everywhere make a big difference. Ryan coming over next year, he's gonna bring a lot of knowledge too, and looking forward to working with him. I don't think we announced the third driver yet. So.
Anything else? All right, Dale, Paul, Ricky, congratulations.